Drinking with Authors may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drinking with Authors. I am your host, author Nick Savage, and this episode, as all, are brought to you by Four Horsemen Publications. Check them out at fourhorsemenpublications.com. That's the number 4. Don't spell it out. Just hit that 4 right next to the 3 button. We got some great authors there, including myself, but we are actually here today to welcome Lavender Nicole to our show. She has written a couple novels, a couple novellas. We're here to talk about them all, and I'm not going to talk about them. She's going to talk about them. So, Lavender, welcome.
Hi. Sorry, let me put my drink down.
That's okay. Actually, what are you drinking with us tonight?
I have a Cherry Coke Zero.
Oh, I like Cherry Coke Zeros. I love the flavor of the Zeros better than the sugar-filled ones. It's just a little, not quite as sweet.
I agree.
Doesn't hurt the teeth as much. And it works out well. I have sugar issues, so there's that. But the 0 calorie just has a better flavor to me. I'm actually on a Sam's Club Zero kick.
Okay.
Just regular or their cherry. $1.20 or dollar. It's either $1 or $1.25 for like the 2 liters, and you just can't beat that price, and they taste great.
Mine is the Kroger brand. The like 12 pack is like 3 for $13, whereas I feel like a regular Coke 12 pack is like $13 on itself. So
yeah. And yeah, the taste is a little different from regular Coke and stuff, but honestly, for the price difference, it's just something that you grow to like more. And then the less sweetness of the Coke almost makes Coke too sweet. Nothing against Coke. We need sponsors.
True.
I'm just like, I will drink Coke. Come sponsor us. But no. And so it is sober fun time tonight because I'm just drinking a little bit of a really watered down tea because I don't like water, so I had to like flavor it with a little bit of like iced tea to get that. But yeah, it's I'm a big tea drinker. Like
I drink tea occasionally. I for a little bit was on a medication that changed my taste buds, and so it made carbonation taste funny. And so I drank a bunch of tea during that time, and I missed my Coke Zeros. So
I don't know if I could do a medication that changes taste buds, because if I ever couldn't eat like what I eat, I'd be very upset.
It was very shocking. I wasn't prepared for it, and I went to like one quick trip and I got the Coke Zero and I was like, man, this tastes weird. And I went to a different one and I went to 3 different locations and I was like, okay, there's a common theme here and it's not the quick trips.
Oh no. And you're not on the medication anymore though?
No.
Okay.
I had an allergic reaction to it. So
oh no, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because people think of allergic reactions, they think it's like anaphylactic shock.
Right.
And clearly, if you're going from quick trip to quick trip, it wasn't anaphylactic shock.
Well, it turned out that was actually a side effect of the medication. It changes your taste buds specifically for like carbonation and a couple other things. But I had a different allergic reaction to it, so which was not anaphylactic shock. I'm fine. But
no, I experienced allergic reaction once to a migraine medication that gave me hot flashes of all things.
Oh, okay. Well, mine was a migraine medication.
What migraine medication?
It was Topamax.
I was on Topamax. Hold on. So before we get to our books, we're going to talk about medication for a bit because the healthcare in this country is so good. Sense the sarcasm. I was on Topamax, and Topamax, one of the side effects of Topamax is you lose the ability to speak, to respond in a normal manner. So like my wife would ask me a question, and I would literally 5 minutes would pass. No joke. Not like, 5 minutes. Like literally, I would walk away from her, come back after doing something, and finally answer a question because I could not process the words within time. And even after getting off the meds, because we looked it up, it's a side effect. It took me months, like a good 6 to 8 months to return back to normal.
Wow. Mine wasn't that bad. I broke out into hives and was very itchy. I'm glad I didn't have that side effect. I work at an elementary school, and that could have been not fun.
That would have been horrible teaching. Class, 5 minutes later, we're going to learn. Bell rings. Good day. Like, yeah, it would have been horrible. No, I was on Zyrtec, not Zyrtec.
Okay. Nurtec, yeah.
Some new one that's still like $1,000 a month for one pill. Gave me hot flashes, and my wife laughed at me because she's entering that peri phase of life. And I got to live through it with my mom. And you don't understand, and guys can't understand. Hot flashes are not fun. I was just sitting there talking with her in the living room, not on camera, and all of a sudden I just started stripping off all my clothes, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, you don't know. You're just that hot that you start. Oh my God! So I'm really glad you didn't have to experience that. You will.
I will eventually, but right now I'm okay.
It was horrible. But medication aside, to everyone listening, going, "What the hell kind of fucking podcast is this?" Tell us about your books. You write steamy novels featuring plus size main characters.
Yeah, so all of my books featuring plus size female main characters. Every single female main character is also a widow. And they all feature some sort of chronic health or PTSD mental health threat. So, and then I have one book that has a female main character and a male main character that is plus size. And a lot of my books are poly, but they all deal with like grief, and some of them are more unhinged than others.
No, unhinged is good. It's just one of those things where I think unhinged is a fun way of saying it's a little too realistic and relatable for some people, because sometimes unhinged is just a reflection of life.
Okay, that's a version of unhinged.
Sometimes unhinged is like that. Sometimes it's not. But
yeah,
tell us about your unhinged. Let's just dive into that.
Yes, so I sort of have levels of unhingedness. So Tattooed on the Hearts, this is my debut romance novel. I wrote this after my husband passed away. This was sort of my healing and grief. It's a poly FFM romance. It is my least unhinged book. It is just a contemporary romance with finding love. There are unhinged moments in it. I usually tell it by saying there is sapphic spice in a church. That is probably the most unhinged you're going to get. I think this is my most unhinged book. This is a novella. This book is, I think, 50 pages. Tiny. It's called All Caged Up, and the smut starts on, I guess it's closer to 60 pages. Anyway, it starts on page 1. I got the idea for this book because I wanted to turn an IUD into a cock cage.
Okay, so, that's yeah. Ooh, yeah.
So it is my most unhinged book. It is an MMF demon cuckold novella. So, it is like anytime I do a book signing, my friend is there. She comes as my PA. She's like trying to sell this book and they're interconnected standalones, because these are her favorites and they're both my most unhinged, in my opinion.
Are they both the novellas?
Yes, these are both my novellas. So this one's 57 pages. I just checked it, and Summertime is like right at 100 pages.
Okay.
So they're both short. They both, again, deal with grief and finding love. This one, I don't, in the romance world, there's a lot of ex's dad is a pretty common theme. I went with ex's parents. So she's fated mates to her ex's parents.
Oh.
So,
okay.
yes.
Okay. No, continue talking. I can always,
No, go ahead. I mean, essentially, I wrote like demons that find fated mates. They mate in threes. Her ex wants her to be his mate, but she's a human, and so he takes her to the human world, and she finds out she's mated to his parents. So
you started writing after your husband passed, and you were young.
He passed when I was 30. He passed about a month before my 31st birthday.
Always a fun way to celebrate. Thank you for understanding the sarcasm there. Yeah. You can't, there's like no, outside of the obligatory, oh my God, I'm so sorry, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Which you've heard for the past 4 years.
I use a lot of dark humor with it, and you'll sort of find like my books have like a range of it. So like in Tattooed on the Hearts, it's more like an emotional grief of like actually dealing with the trauma and like real raw emotions. Whereas these two, it's sort of like, hey, shit happens, so it's a range, because one of the reasons I started writing books with widows is I didn't see a lot of books where the female main character or any of the main character was a widow or a widower, but even less so did I find an author that was that. And a lot of times when you read a book where the character was a widow or widower, it was very much like, oh, they passed away, I'm sad, I miss them. Whereas the range of emotions that you feel is actually a lot greater.
I love how you simplify. Oh, they're gone. It's sad. I miss them. Like there's so much more complexity. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times it felt like it was simplified down to that. And I get it. It's a lot to write into a book, especially since like I tend to write some shorter books, not all of them, but there's a lot of emotions that you can feel in that aspect. And so that's sort of what got me started. Because I was an avid reader before I started writing. I don't know if you can tell on my wall behind me. I got tons of books.
Yeah.
So that is what started it.
No, that's wonderful. So you started writing to help deal with the loss, and I'm hoping it has helped so far and carried you through till,
A great deal.
Good. Now, as knowing that you have representation's a thing. It's a good thing to have. It's a good. So you're writing these things where the main characters are the widows or widowers, and they're plus size, and that's kind of a reflection of your life. And then you got this poly thing going on.
Yes.
So are you poly?
I am not opposed to a poly relationship. I would very much be open to it. It would depend on the situation. I will say that a lot of my closest friends are poly, so I have a lot of insight into the poly world. And
yes,
it's something that has intrigued me.
That's no. That's kind of, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Where I was going with that is because some writers, they imagine, they put themselves in their shoes, and they might not have the experience secondhand or firsthand to go with it, but you do have a number of poly people in your life which you get to observe all the chaos that is them.
Yes, and I can very easily just text any one of them and be like, hey, does this seem accurate? Or hey, what do you think about this? And it's something that makes it sort of easier to write, because a lot of times I read a lot of poly or wide choose romances, and sometimes it feels really unrealistic. Now, granted, are my demon wide choose books realistic? No, because they're demons. But I do think the relationship dynamics are fairly realistic, because it's maybe not the cuckold one, because it just starts right away. But I think that I did a pretty decent job of making sure that it's an accurate representation and not just because I can.
No. And that is the thing, because you're trying hard. Like, I don't want to say trying hard. You're trying and you're getting the representation in the books. So you want all representation to be as authentic as possible, which I am sure readers are more than appreciative of, even if they're just buying the book from you and they haven't read it yet. At least knowing that it's there is something they're, appreciative of, which is a wonderful thing.
Yes. And that is, I did go out of the way. So typically, like with Obsessed, so like the female main character for this book is Indigenous, and I am obviously not an Indigenous person. So I have an Indigenous sensitivity reader that has gone above and beyond to make sure that this series is accurate and that I'm not doing anything harmful, because to me that is important. Now, I originally was just going to write this as like a white character, but I have a friend on TikTok, Felicia Reeds, who gave me the idea for this book. And so then I messaged her, because she asked me if I would name the female main character after her. So the female main character is named Felicia. I was like, hey, do you want the main character to be Indigenous, since you gave me the idea for this book? And it is, she's based off of you in ways, like I'm not writing a friend of mine smutty, but
you're not writing about her specific sexual exploits in the book.
Correct. I just like, she was sort of the general vibe of the character. So she was like, yes, that would mean the world to me. So there was a lot of going back and forth, because her tribe is not located where the book is located. So things that I was putting in the book were not necessarily native to the region I was writing in. So my sensitivity reader helped me go through and make sure that I wrote things in a way where I could still use Felicia's tribe, but I wouldn't be upsetting the tribes, or not upsetting, but being inaccurate towards the tribes in the Oregon area.
No, that makes sense. And that's a good thing to try and not do, is to just, write inaccurate things, especially about people who have been so disrespected throughout, our history and stuff. Yeah. So small steps towards a better future even if it is, well, having threesomes and having awesome sex.
Yes.
That's to a better future. So here's a question for anyone listening, because at this point, people who don't like spice, they're gone.
Right.
We have our spicy readers, you know, and if they're not like into it, they can still be curious and they're still here. So anyone still here knows it's spice, especially after the IUD as a cock cage, which I think is hysterical.
I wish I had. I have stickers of them made, but they're not by me. So
how spice level on, you know, like the chili peppers or whatever, because obviously it's open door. How spicy are we getting here? Are we talking NC-17?
Yes, I would say so. Specifically the novellas, I would say that these are probably my spiciest. You know, I've had like Tattooed on the Heart. I had one reader describe it as erotica. I don't classify it as erotica. But you know, that's so subjective to me, because in my mind, you know, it really is a love story with a lot of spice in it. So you using the chili pepper rating as readers do with the ratings, I would say like 3, maybe 4 out of 5 chili peppers, and then 4 to 5
goes up. Okay, because that's pretty intense. You know, like a lot of people, especially with the Hallmark Channel getting the moment it's having right now. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, I just want like closed door romance. You know, just a kiss at the end. And then other people are like, no. Oh, I saw on your website. Now we have to talk about this since we're talking about sex. And hold on, because I'm making my notes. I try and keep my podcast hosting very authentic. And I'm like, no, I take notes during the fucking podcast so I can remember shit, because my memory is shot. Don't do drugs, kids.
That was mine.
You are going to Smut Lovers in 2026 this year.
I'm going in 2027. So I went in 2025. I did not go in 2026. I will be going in 2027.
2026 hasn't happened yet.
Yes, I know. I missed the sign up for it.
Oh, you missed the sign up for it. Okay.
My website is out of date, and my dad does my website, and I emailed him and I said, hey, all this stuff is out of date. Can you please update it? And then he had back surgery. So
well, he's laying on his back. Just no, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. Well,
that is eventually how it's going to be. I'm going to be like, hey, I emailed you this before your surgery. I'm going to need you to fix it because it is out to date. But no, I will be there in 2027. I would love to have done 2026, but I actually have signings like generally surrounding it. So I'm located in Atlanta. So there's a signing in June. It's RAWR, RAWR. So I'm signing there. And then in North Carolina, Crown and Quill, I will be signing there. And then just last night, my friend texted me. She lives in South Carolina. She was like, hey, there's a book signing in September and they still need authors. And I'm like, that's a lot of book signings back to back to back.
Wait, what city is that one in, or what state? You
Charleston?
Said South Carolina. It's too far. I am not. My car is not making it 9 hours away from me. But I love Smut Lovers. I did it once.
It's so fun.
It was like the 1 year it didn't align with my other shows that I do religiously. Not religiously. I'm not a religious person. It's not like Christian shows.
I got what you meant.
Yeah. But no, I feel like sometimes I'm so dry that I have to be like, no, I don't actually mean that. I do Ancient City Con in St. Augustine every year, and it always lines up with Smut Lovers, except for the 1 year I did it. I got into it last minute, like literally 2 hours before the show started. My publisher called me up and was like, hey, do you want? So I met Nikki Rome, who runs Smut Lovers.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I don't get paid, you know, disclaimer, I don't get paid by Smut Lovers. But I did it once, and I highly recommend it for any author who is a smutty romance author. You know, smuttier the better for that show. But I was in there, and honestly, I sold more of my sci-fi series than I did my you know, like romance series, because it was an oddball there, and the husbands were just buying it up, you know. But Smut Lovers is great. And for anybody in Smut, did you attend any of the what are they called, like the demonstrations?
Yes, I did.
I did not, and I hear about them. I hear stories about. Can you explain to the listeners what I mean by demonstrations and panels at a conference called Smut Lovers.
Yeah. So Smut Lovers in particular, I think like in a couple of nights leading up to the event, but not the actual Saturday night, they have like a kink demonstration. So you can go around and you can, we got to see shibari, which is really cool. It's a really cool art form in my opinion.
Can you explain that for people?
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
She has dogs, folks.
I do. Scotch. Their names fit. I don't drink, but they're all named after alcohol.
A lot of dogs are, I understand.
My first dog when I turned 21, his name was Whiskey, and then I have Jenny, but it's Gin, Schnapps and Scotch. So my dad gets real frustrated because he's like, "Why did you name them Schnapps and Scotch?" And I'm like, I don't have reasons. But so shibari is the rope tying. So like wrapping people up in the rope, you can hang them. It's so cool to see. And this is something like that I've seen outside of Smut Lovers. I've been to different events. So shibari is really interesting. Oh, I forgot the name of the author that does the demonstration there. Shannon Elliott. She does the shibari demonstration. And I believe you can actually go on her social medias and maybe see some shibari. Don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. And then there was like electricity play, so you could feel like the electricity wands on your skin, which they also said help migraines. So if you have a migraine, they have like an electromagnetic wand you can put on your temples, and it honestly did help. And I need to get one. There was like a little.
Remember this.
I know.
It sounds great for when I get my migraines.
Yes, I know. I need to get one. There was like a little's corner. There was wax play, so you got to actually feel like the hot wax on your skin. So it was just a kink demonstration.
The kink demonstrations are the big ones there. And yeah. I know I had spoken with Nikki on a side conversation. This wasn't like a serious because I've only done it once, but she knows who I am type stuff. So she might not even remember this conversation. But she had talked about trying to get adult toy demonstrations going, but there was an issue because of age and just kind of what's considered lewd acts in public, even though it's a private event and stuff like that. But she was trying to work it out where we could legally do it and do it in an environment where, not me, no one wants to see that, where it was safe and consensual and in an environment where people would respect it and stuff. But there were just big issues with that. But I do love
one I went to that had not happened yet. Now there were booths selling it.
Oh yeah, she's got the vendors there and stuff.
One of the things I remember is it happened at the same time as like I don't know if it was a Muslim wedding, a Muslim convention, something, and some poor guy in his full get up walked in and saw the sex toys and walked back out, and I really think he was a good bit paler.
I was doing a horror convention, and at the same time as this horror convention, which anyone who knows horror, it's just movies, and people aren't actually going out and killing, it's just movies. Right. There was this like hardcore, like some denomination of Christianity or Catholicism or something like that, like church event in the same hotel.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
At first, they were scared of us and like wouldn't ride the escalators or elevators with us on it. And by the third day, they were just coming into the event. And we're like, oh, this is so cool. And we're like, yeah, they're not going back to church after this. And it was just like one of those things where it's like mind-opening events of any sort, I think, are educational and help you, know the world is a bigger place than what you can see. On a side note, on migraine, since you are a sufferer, new studies have come out. They've done brain scans, and of course, when you're suffering a migraine, they see disruptive patterns in the brain. Mm-hmm. But they've started studying and comparing migraine sufferers to when they don't have migraines, or at least when they think they don't have migraines, and they show similar disruptive patterns, just on a smaller scale, that normal non-migraine sufferers don't have, which means we are constantly suffering from a migraine. We just don't feel the pain until it gets bad enough that we're like, oh, but we always are feeling a migraine.
I once had a neurologist tell me, and I can't remember his exact words, But I was talking about it and I was like, on days I might have like what I would consider a headache. And he said, what you would consider a headache, an average everyday person is going to consider a migraine.
Yeah.
And so on days where you don't think you have anything, you have a headache. And then, you know what I mean? Like it just goes up from there. One of the stories because the healthcare system is so amazing, I've been through quite a lot of health insurances and therefore had to change doctors because copays.
Yeah.
And I went to one once and they said, so how long have you been getting migraines? And I said, well, I can remember them as early as 3, but my mom remembers them younger. That doctor looked me dead in the eyes and said, kids don't get migraines. And I said, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, sure. We do. I'd be walking right the hell out. If my mom were still alive, she'd be calling him up and being like, he sure shit got migraines at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing this with you. And I don't even think I think this was like an urgent care because I had pneumonia.
Oh, no.
Just like, you didn't have migraines as a child. And I was like, can you just prescribe me something? Like, tell me what I need to do for the pneumonia because I would like to leave now.
Yeah, no, I'd be like, I'll just go to a different urgent care to a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, it was rural Alabama, so I was limited.
You're limited to the one doctor who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. No. So okay, you have your first book was the title. Show it for anyone watching. She's going to show it again because I'm going to have her pull it up.
Tattooed on the Hearts.
Tattooed on the Hearts. And you have over 30 tattoos yourself.
I do. I love tattoos, so I can honestly fall asleep during them. So like you can kind of see, like I've got squids. This is a hammerhead. My entire shoulder is an octopus. I have a bunch. I am also one of those people that's like, oh look, it's a Friday the 13th sale. Let me go and get a flash sale. So
I have a friend who only does flash sale tattoos.
Oh, really?
And she was like, before she ever got one, she was like, I'm just going to get one and I'm never going to get another one. And me and my wife, who both have multiple tattoos, laughed at her. And we're like, that's not how tattoos work. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you get one and then you're like, oh, I need another one and another one. She has like 5 or 6 now.
Yeah.
And this is like someone who started in her 30s getting tattoos. And she's like, every flash sale, she's like, I'm going to go get one. But you're all artwork. All of mine are words. I have no like pictures. They're all words like arm, leg.
Mine are mostly artwork. I do have some quotes. I will admit that I had some quotes before a certain author became very problematic. So
Neil Gaiman?
No, JK Rowling.
What was okay? Can we talk about the difference between the stories they tell and the person they are?
Yes.
Yes, I understand. She's not anyone who should be looked up to as a role model. But her stories, and that's what I don't get about her, is her stories were so anti what she stands for.
Well, the more people look into it, like, we look at it as sort of like a rose-covered glasses, like this is our childhood. But there were certain things that come out as like being, oh, that was problematic, like the black character's last name being Shacklebolt.
Oh, see, I don't pay attention to names. So yeah, there's
several things. The one Asian character being Cho Chan, like there were several things where people were like, and then it came out that the Death Eaters were Nazis. So there were a lot of things. Yeah.
See, I am not up to date on any of that. I, however, did watch the movies again and go, Ron and Harry and Hermione are a bunch of fucking assholes.
They are a bunch of fucking assholes.
If you watch it again, love for Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, and for the love of God, I can't remember his name right now.
Rupert Grint. He was my childhood crush, so therefore I remember his name.
Like aside, well, okay, here's the thing is like, if I say, oh, I had a crush on like Luna Lovegood, we're the same age. You know what I'm saying? Like, or about the same age. It's not like I'm 46 going, I had a crush on a 17-year-old. I was like a couple years older than them, I'm like the youngest of the Gen X. This is like the top of the millennial chain. You know what I'm saying? It's like 2 years, but
Yeah.
like it was one of those things where like you look at them now and you're like, yeah, the actors are wonderful human beings, but those characters were just dicks.
Yeah.
Just fucking dicks. But on the same note, a broken clock is still right twice a day, which means some of what she said still holds relevance.
I can agree with that because I mean you can't discount everything and it's the same. But I also will say my best friend is trans, so I am a little.
No. And
I'm
I
very
will,
partial to.
no,
Yeah.
I understand that because I think it was the speech professor. I think it was a speech professor, if you know who he is on social media, was talking
Oh.
about this. And he's talking about, oh, but we can separate the artist from the art. And he goes, and you can. But looking the way he does, now he's a 6'7" big guy.
Okay.
And he's white, I'm white, and I know what I look like, I know what I sound like, very self-aware about that. If a trans person saw me wearing Harry Potter, they might be unsure if I just like Harry Potter or if I'm on JK's side. So it might be one of those things. And if they have to question it, why wear it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why wear something that they might be like, oh, I could still be, maybe I don't want to talk to them type stuff. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes having the not approaching and just taking the safer route is sometimes not is better worth your time than trying to go, oh, well, he sounds the way he does, whether it's a Chicago accent or not. So maybe try it. You know, it might not be worth their time. Now, I am an ally. I'm not going to sit there and fucking hate on someone just for trying to live their life. But they wouldn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I can understand his side completely. What's the quote, though, that you have?
I have, even in the darkest of days, happiness can be found if only you remember to turn on the lights.
See, and there's nothing problematic about that I can think of or even think of like, oh, dark days, dark light. You know, light and darkness is not a black-white issue in that sense. It's not a, you know what I'm saying? So that is one. But yeah, I didn't know his last name was Shacklebolt.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. And I very much am one of those people that like, I started off not really realizing the difference between a problematic and an unproblematic author. And so I've really sort of built, before I became an author, I built a platform on like separating myself from the two and calling out problematic authors when I saw them. I don't do it so much anymore because I mostly market my books. But that is something that like I've always been sort of passionate about because it started sort of my journey into the whole book talk sphere and learning and so much. So when more and more stuff came out about those books and when people were going back and reading them, I was like, oh yeah, that did not comprehend with my little 10-year-old mind.
Yeah. Like, honestly, even if I watched it now, had you not pointed it out to me, I wouldn't have made that association with the last name or even, you know what I'm saying, the age. But like going, oh, because to me, a name's a name. If it was a white guy with the last name of Shacklebolt, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, care.
Right.
But because she chose it for the one black character, you're like, And I do know that one guy they recast altogether. Is that the character you're talking about? The one guy that started off white, went through puberty, and all of a sudden he was black. Is that the character?
Maybe. I think so. I'd have to really remember that part.
I don't.
But
It's been so fucking long since I've watched that stuff.
But,
oh no. And I understand what it's like to have tattoos by problematic authors because I have a couple by someone who's probably more problematic than her, and that is the H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay.
And it's not. He was a horrible person. I would never get like a tattoo of him. You know what I'm saying? His picture. He was even for the time, he was a racist, just piece of shit.
Right.
And if, again, much like yours, if you take what is not problematic from the writing, there's still good stuff to be had from it. But his writing has some problem, you know what I mean, in it.
Yeah.
So my tattoos are those parts which are not from the problematic, because I actually, being a non-religious person, went with something that was about Cthulhu himself, you know what I'm saying, and the eldritch gods and the cosmic horror, because that's all anyone really takes away from his writing anyways. No one, you know what I'm saying, like looks into the problems, you know what I'm saying, of him being a piece of shit he was. But no. So we stay away from JK tattoos now?
I do. Most of my tattoos now you're gonna see like the art. I'm working on like a nautical sleeve, so like sea animals. I've always loved the ocean. When I was a little girl, I told my mom when I grew up I was going to be a killer whale, not study killer whales. I was going to actually be a killer whale.
Respect.
So the ocean has always sort of been like my favorite thing. So I've got like a huge octopus on my shoulder. I've got the hammerhead shark. I've got a stingray. I've got a bunch of different things. And so like I'm slowly working on that. I have a portrait of my dog that passed away and my childhood cat that passed away. And just a couple other like small ones. I've got a little hedgehog with a hat that all of my students seem to think is a skunk for some unknown reason.
What grade do you teach?
I am a parapro, so I work at a school. These are kids that have been taken out of their traditional school and put into a school for behaviors. So I work with everything from 1st grade to 5th grade.
So these are not your reader base?
No.
Oh, no, okay. These are way too young. Okay.
Not at all. Now,
Okay.
I do have former students that did write books, and they're available on Amazon. They wrote them during the elementary school. And so like I do like to try and plug them. I don't have the books with me. But that was really cool to me to have students that were published on Amazon.
Yeah, no, that's awesome stuff. I always feel weird asking if like a teacher who writes like erotica where they teach. And
Yeah.
I always feel like, were you a Friends fan at all? Have you ever seen TV show
Yeah.
Friends?
Yeah.
You remember it's a very specific episode where Phoebe goes on a date with a guy who she walks out of the date and she's like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I write erotic novels for children. They're wildly unpopular.
I think I do remember that.
Like say something like that if I like ask what grade you teach. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, we have to like watch out.
No, my students are not. We did state testing and I was like, okay, well, I got to bring some sort of book to read. And I'm like, what am I going to bring?
Yeah.
Because it needs to be not super long, but also like, it can't just be straight up erotica that I'm bringing to do a test with an elementary school kid.
Yeah, no.
No, that was, and I told my coworker I was going to be bringing a book, and she said, "Make sure that it's not 50 Shades of Grey." And I was like, 50 Shades of Grey is tame. Not that I'd bring 50 Shades to an elementary school, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, you bring Twilight to the elementary school since 50 Shades was just Twilight fanfic to begin with, anyways.
Yeah,
yeah. Just get the counterpart that started it all, which I guess Twilight only exists because of the 9/11 attacks or something like that.
I did not know that. I was never a Twilight fan.
No,
I will fully admit it. I was never. My sister loved it. She had a cutout cardboard of one of the male actors. Don't ask me which one. And then I had the movies always came out around my birthday, and I had a boyfriend. We dated for like 2 months, so I'm going to use the term boyfriend very loosely. Who decided to take me to one of the movies. And he says, I don't fall asleep during movies. I don't fall asleep during things. I'm very much like I fall asleep at night sort of person. I fell asleep in the movie theater. Now, granted, he took me to see like movie 3 and I hadn't seen the first 2. So, you know, maybe that was part of the problem, but I was just like, this is not my thing.
No. Okay, so wait. I found it. That's why I muted myself. I was like, I need to figure this out. It is that it's 9/11 happened, and I have to get down to the bottom of this. My Chemical Romance was there's a connection between, I can't find it in here now, but My Chemical Romance and Twilight and 9/11 all have something that tie together. So if anyone wants to look it up, there you go. It's a whole thing. The world is a very interconnected place if you can follow the web that's 3D and stuff.
It is a very interconnected place.
Yeah.
Now, I do love me some MCR.
I am not overly familiar with their stuff. I was not into emo at the time, but I do love the Black Parade, as anybody should. It is a great anthem, and it kind of does really rock. So I did start listening to them more recently, and I could really appreciate their music. And I think I should have listened to them more back in the day, and admitted that they were better than I wanted to give them credit for.
I would never really classify myself as emo. I've had very diverse music taste. So like one year I went to I saw Paramore, Lil Wayne, Gucci, and like Toby Keith, all who again problematic, didn't know it at the time I was in high school, all in 1 year.
Yeah.
So, I was never really stuck to like one genre of music. Now, my dad will listen to some of my music and he's like, this is awful, I hate this. But he is a 60s kid and likes his traditional rock and roll. So,
yeah, no. I think anyone can be found problematic if we dig deep enough, but we have to give them the capacity to actually change and become a different person. The only problem is JK hasn't.
Yeah.
And she keeps doubling down. And Toby Keith he died, right? I think he died.
Oh, did Toby Keith die?
I don't know.
But he doubled down before he died, if he did die. I don't think he died, though.
I don't know. We're going to look this shit up right now. I don't think I've ever put so much shit on a... he died February 5th. He died February 5th, 2024. He died on my birthday.
Did not know that. I really thought that man was still alive.
Yeah, no, he died on my birthday. So there's that. But no, I think, I know I've done some stupid shit back in the day, unknowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been like malicious or malevolent about, malevolence, the word malevolence, maleficence, the character. I always get those words confused. I've never been malevolent. You just say things because you're a kid and you're stupid and you think you're being funny. And then as you learn when you're older, you're like, oh, I need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to change and be better and do better. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I can do it.
And a lot of people just don't want to do that because that's part of being a white ally in any sort of ways. You have to unlearn what you've been taught. And we have been taught from a very young age,
I don't even think it's so much about being like a white ally or an ally or anything. It's just about, to some people, they don't want to admit that the jokes they've been making or their way of thinking has been problematic because they don't want to think about themselves in a negative way.
Right.
So they're like, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to keep being me. And it's like, you can be you, just not that be a better part of you. Like you learn to stop shitting your pants and to go on a toilet and wipe your ass. And you're still you're still a good person for having learned a behavior that seemed natural at the time, You stopped wetting your bed after that at some point, which was a natural behavior. You can stop saying stupid shit.
Yeah, but a lot of people just don't want to do that.
No, and it's just kind of funny like that. But back to the books.
Yeah.
What do we got in the horizon?
So, my book 2 for Sable University. So book 1 is called Obsessed. It's probably hard to read because this is in fact the one I bedazzled. Book 2 is called Observed.
Channels are audio only. So most of our channels are audio only. So we do have it on YouTube. So hold it up for the YouTubers. Yeah. That is Obsessed. And that's repeat
book 2 is called Observed. It'll be coming out the end of May, maybe early June. I had to push it back. It should be going out to ARC readers this week. And so this is an MF dark stalker romance. It's dark. It's probably not haunting and hunting Adeline dark, but it is dark in my opinion.
I've not read, but I've heard about haunting Adeline, and I hear that is just like torture porn, basically.
Well, it was one of those books that I read, and I was like, I don't think this is all that bad. And then I was like, maybe I'm the issue. And there was like one series that I like listened to. It was a duet. It was like a YA queer duet with like, hold on, there's the dog again. With magical creatures, and that's like right up my dad's alley. And I was like, hey, I got these on audio, you should listen to them. Listen to the first book, loved it. Second book, I get a phone call. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be listening to this. Here are the trigger warnings. And I'm like, that book had trigger warnings? One of them was cannibalism, and I was like, man, that's like the third book in a month I've listened to with cannibalism. Maybe it's me.
I mean, here's the thing though, is like much like authors can be problematic, characters, if the character calls for being problematic, because cannibalism is a problem, if it fits the story, it makes sense. And yeah, well, a trigger warning is nice. It's probably not being glorified.
Right. No, it was not being glorified in any of the books that I read. But no, like my books, like obviously you said most of it is in, or there's not audio, but I have a long list of trigger warnings in my books. So
give us if you're looking at them, give us a couple of the trigger warnings.
Yeah. So, and some of the triggers aren't necessarily triggers in my opinion, but they're things that some people don't like. So like for obsessed, it starts off with stalking and then kink. And then I have more specifically exhibitionism, voyeurism, breeding, a glory hole, and more. Kidnapping, dubcon, CNC, and then a lot of like rape of all, threats of it, memory of it. And then like slut shaming, fat shaming, homophobia, just, anything that could trigger to somebody.
Yeah, no, there are some I can agree with there, like any of the shamings, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain things I just won't write about because I'll find other ways to do it, you know what I'm saying? But dark, those are the tropes, you know what I'm saying? And dark, it needs to be dark. My dark is just dark humor. I don't do dark like, you know what I'm saying, that style dark. It's dark humor and whatever. But like kink is kink. Who the fuck cares about kink? Why does it need you know what I'm saying? Like trigger warning like that.
Some people just don't like it. And so like I don't want somebody to go into my book and be like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that. So it was just sort of like one of those things where I was like, I'd rather be safe rather than sorry.
That I can understand. Yeah. That I can
because there are people that'll like go into a book and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know this was here. And then it ends up in the review. And so for me, it was like, okay, well, let me put everything I can possibly do. And so what I did with this series is like, I took these triggers and I just added the new triggers to book 2. So like, it'll say at the top, these are the triggers for books 1 and 2. And then book 3, it'll say, these are the triggers for books 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So that way, if anybody had any questions, was this in book 1, everything is listed there for you to see.
Because her books are not family friendly, folks.
No, they are not family friendly.
No, they are not. I don't care how dark you get, they're not family friendly.
No. And I did, when I started writing, my first book is like a sweet contemporary romance. It deals with grief. It can be a little sad, but it's not dark. It is finding love in a dark place. And then they just slowly kept getting darker. And I was like, well, maybe that's, my element is actually dark romance. And I just have like the one sweet contemporary because that's sort of how things go, apparently, in my brain.
I do know that you said you weren't sure why they were labeled erotica.
It was mostly tattooed on the heart. I was unsure why it would be considered erotica. There's a lot of smut in it.
There's strict criteria. You can have smut, but if it uses certain descriptors about genitalia, it'll be considered erotica. If it uses the word cock or cunt even once, it'll be considered erotica.
Oh, well, then all of mine are erotica.
It has a certain like numerical, and I think they upped it from like cock has to be like 3 times or some BS like that. But if it passes a certain threshold of just vocabulary, it will be considered erotica.
Then all of mine are erotica. Let me go backwards. They're all erotica.
But it's sweet erotica. It's fun. It's like a sweet romance meets erotica. Yeah. No. Yeah. So for everybody who's listening, who wants to know, where can we find you? Where can we find your books?
So you can find me pretty much any social media. It'll be author Lavender Nicole or Lavender Nicole author, depending on the platform you're on. I think Facebook is the only one that's Lavender Nicole author. The rest should be author Lavender Nicole. I am on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok is going to be where you'll see me the most. Facebook probably second. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. I really am. It's never been my app.
You can connect your Facebook to your Instagram, so when you post to Facebook, it automatically posts to Instagram.
I think that they might be connected, but I'll have to double check. I know the other problem is my personal Facebook is also connected.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
And why?
Do you have a husky? I'm hearing the roar. Is it a
No,
husky?
he is just a mutt.
Oh, okay. Roar.
He is a mutt. I did a DNA test on him. He's like bull terrier, maybe some pit bull. He's a super mutt.
If I start barking, will he bark though? Can he hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you.
What's his name?
Scotch.
Scotch. Scotch. Come here, Scotch. Come here. Come here, Scotch.
He's
For anyone
tilting.
listening and trying to mess with the dog via Zoom.
He's tilting. He's tilting his head, but he's not coming over.
Someone stop calling my name. I love animals so much. They're just the greatest things ever. They're better than humans.
I agree. Yeah. I have him. I've got a female pit. She's mostly pit. She's a pit lab mix. And then I have a Gordon Setter mix that I found on the side of the road. They're all rescues. But when I found the Gordon Setter on the side of the road, I was like, man, who left a Rottweiler puppy here? And then he grew, and I was like, Rottweilers don't have that tail.
Oh, well, thank you for rescuing animals. I don't believe in buying from breeders. So
I don't either. And I volunteer at my local animal shelter, so you will never really find me doing a whole breeder thing.
No.
I will say that the event I'm signing at in June, the Roar Atlanta one, I believe the proceeds are going towards the Atlanta Humane Society. Last year, it went to like a canine police unit, but this year, I believe she changed it to the Humane Society.
Okay. So anyone listening who's near Atlanta, go to the Roar, which is RAWR event, and buy some awesome books, read some spicy stuff so you can remember them later. And I'm trying to keep that one clean. And give some money to animal shelters and stuff.
I will say that if you go on my website, Tattooed on the Hearts and Obsessed do have not safe for artwork. The artwork for Obsessed is a lot more not safe for work, in my opinion, than it is for Tattooed. But the other ones do not, because I have not decided on what to do for all caged up in summertime yet.
Oh, that's okay. Right. This whole podcast is getting an NSFW warning, so it's,
yeah, that's definitely a thing with me. NSFW. I had like a bundle posted on my TikTok top, and they took it down, and they were like for adult content, and I'm like, but why?
Yeah,
my books are posted separately. Why'd you take down my bundle?
Yeah.
So,
before we leave, I always like to ask some my guests for a piece of writing advice. So if you can give a piece of writing advice to an aspiring author, what would it be?
To just write the book. Don't let your mind get in your way. I'm really bad about letting my mind get in my way, but if I had never sat down and started to write, I would not have the experience that I have. And now I know I can do it. And, you can only grow from there. So to actually sit down and do it, and don't discount yourself.
You heard it here. Just go write that damn book. Just get it done. Just do it. Believe in yourself. Or to quote Ozzy Osbourne lyric, and I can't remember which song, you got to believe in yourself or no one will believe in you. Can't remember what song that was, Baz.
I don't know.
Yeah. If you don't listen to Ozzy, you won't know. I don't know, and I do listen to him. But Lavender Nicole, I want to thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. Yes, and for everybody who tuned in and is listening, thank you so much for joining us here. Go follow her on all her socials. Don't forget to follow Drinking with Authors on all our socials. There's so many socials we have. Like, follow, share, tell everyone about us, make us famous. You know how it works. And until next time, just remember, it costs nothing to be kind.
Thank you for listening to Drinking with Authors. Join us next time for another fun conversation with an author over drinks.